Welcome back to a Mike and a Mall Bench. I am your co-host TJ. I am joined by Isaac. Say hello to the people, Isaac.
Hello, people.
What's up? Okay, so not to be leading, today's topic is a little bit about movies. Isaac, I don't know if you are aware of this. This
hmm
is something that I saw. I think I saw it yesterday. It's been like doubly confirmed today. I
Yes.
don't know if you know the iconic Disney character Winnie the Pooh, a public domain recently.
I, th-
There
I,
is now a horror movie
yeah,
that is real.
I knew you were going there. Yep, yep. I did see that.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. What are your thoughts? And do you think the world needed Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey?
Okay, so keep in mind of everything I'm about to say. I've not seen the trailer yet. Okay,
I don't think there's a trailer. I think it's just photos.
it's just
If there's a
photos.
trailer,
Okay,
I'm gonna watch it
I've
tonight.
seen. That's what I was gonna say. I've just seen the pictures, and it looks. Honestly, it looks scary, so that's good. I'm not a fan of horror, the horror genre as a whole.
That
I
is fair.
I just don't like. I'm really jumpy, normally, so I don't like being jump scared, and that's what most horror is based off of now. Psychological horror, as long as it's not too deeply unsettling, I can get down with. Um,
Like Get Out or something like that.
yeah, if something just makes me feel uncomfortable while I'm watching it, I can deal with that. I'm not huge into gore, which is what this is looking like it's going to be just from the pictures that have been released. Um,
I agree.
is it something up my alley? Pretty much unequivocally no. Uh, unless they work some kind of psychological horror into it, which I probably not. It looks like it's going to be like a slasher film that's just painted over the body of Winnie the Pooh. Did the world need it? Kind of, I think. Um,
kind of.
so I am a huge disliker of copyright laws, and I love that things eventually go into the public domain. I wish that happened faster. And I don't like that a lot of companies try to find workarounds to keep things from going into the public domain. Like Disney has been keeping Michael Mouse, as you like to call him, out of the
Well,
public.
Michael has been dodging the public domain for years now.
Yes, yes, and I hate
It's
that.
coming for him.
I like for things to
They're coming for
eventually.
Michael.
I like when things eventually make it into the public domain, and no, I don't think Winnie the Pooh is exactly the largest thing to ever make it into the public domain without the people who own the IP fighting it off. But I think that's a good case. And if people do some creative stuff with it, I think that's awesome. Is there any chance that I go see that movie? Probably not. Um, I do hope it's good. I really hope it's good. And if you are a horror movie fan and a Winnie the Pooh fan, you must be eating good.
That small portion of the
that
population.
that is a Venn diagram that has 4 people in it.
They are stoked right
They
now.
are stoked. They are popping off. Uh, that's like, do you know Daniel Tosh, the comedian?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
He does stand-up routines that like they start with a very broad joke, and then the joke gets more and more specific as it goes along. And by the time you get to the end of the joke, there's like 2 people laughing, but they're laughing their heads off. That is what has just happened with this movie. The 3 people who are huge horror fans and also Winnie the Pooh fans are just like livid right now. They've already called off of work for when this movie comes out.
I think I'm gonna go watch it just for the sheer.
Oh, oh, you've cut out.
Oh, did I?
Yeah,
Am I back?
you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, cool.
Uh, just because it's so unique, I could maybe see myself, but it's like I don't
Maybe I'll
want.
wait for it to be on streaming.
That's what
Maybe
I
I'm
was gonna
gonna
say.
buy a movie ticket, but
I'm
I'm
not.
definitely gonna watch it at some point.
I'm not paying $14 and $10 for a popcorn bucket and $8 for a soda to watch a Winnie the Pooh slasher film. I
I
don't.
mean, that's fair. That is
If
fair.
it comes to streaming, I feel like it's gonna be one of those movies, and this kind of leads into the topic. I see this being a so bad that it's good potentially.
So bad. Yeah,
So
I can see that.
I think there's potential for this to be a really funny movie, even though it's not trying to be. But we'll have to see. Um, but movies are in a good place right now. I don't know this really helps that, but we'll see.
It's something,
Yeah. Like, I wish I could watch horror movies, you know. I think horror movies are good. I I see why the appeal is there, but I'm just such a jumpy person that I get jump scared once or twice and I'm kind of just done because I stop having fun after that.
I don't mind jump scares. I like horror movies. I do prefer psychological horror movies.
Yeah. I think that
I also am a huge fan of cheesy horror movies
true.
that are just ridiculous, and they know that, like, one of my all-time favorite horror movies is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
those movies are just absurd, and they know they are absurd. They lean into it.
Did you see like was it the 2013 reboot they did?
Too serious.
Yeah.
Serious.
I can't remember. It was like I just remember that the year was like unofficially a part of the title, but it was just Nightmare on Elm Street was the title or something like that.
Yeah, they dropped the ball with that one. They tried to reboot
Yeah, that's
a
the only
really
one
good
I've seen
franchise.
from that franchise, and although I mean, objectively, it was a kind of a bad movie, but it did scare me a couple times. Much fewer than most horror movies do, because, like I said, I spook easy. But that one only got me like once or twice, and I've been spooked harder by a Marvel movie at this point, so that's not saying a lot.
That movie.
I'm not.
Movie.
We're not gonna.
Sam Raimi was in his
Yeah,
bag.
we're not gonna go into spoilers for that movie, but just so you know, Sam Raimi did not come to play in that movie. That's all we'll say about that.
No,
If you know, you
no.
know. If you don't, then go figure it out because it was a fun time. Okay, so I think that's probably good. I like that small topic. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce the topic, and on my screen, I've had this stupid meme pulled up on screen, but I've not enlightened you to it yet, TJ. It's just a Morbius meme because Morbius is a funny meme.
It's morbid.
And so Morbius basically has spawned today's topic because I've been seeing Morbius memes for like the last 2 weeks. And today's topic is bad movies. And we're allowing creative freedom. I just told TJ he can talk about movies that are so bad that they're good, movies that are just bad, or movies that most people think are good that we think are bad. And we're just gonna go from there. But Morbius, have you seen Morbius?
No, but I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
One of my answers encompasses Morbius. That's all I'll say until I say it.
Yeah, so I think Morbius gets a little more hate than it deserves, but it is an objectively bad movie. So I definitely see how it has turned itself into a meme. And also, really bad timing to release a bat-themed superhero movie within, like, what was it, 2 weeks of Batman?
Yeah.
So people were already kind of batted out, and you're just going to throw another bat-themed character in there. Not to spoil too much, but the movie just... The pacing is really bad. I'd say that's the worst part of it. The action scenes, not terrible. I saw a lot of people say the action scenes were bad. I just disagree with that. I thought the CGI was pretty good. The fight scenes were a little faster than you normally see in a superhero movie. But you know, I watch anime, so I'm used to fight scenes that move really quickly, so I could keep up. A lot of people said they couldn't tell what was happening, and I'm like, I'm not sure we watched the same movie. I was able to follow. So I thought the action was solid. The dialogue could not have been flatter. Everyone except for one character just seemed like they had zero emotion the entire time. Especially Jared Leto, which is weird because he's normally known for playing wacky characters with way too much energy. a la
Jared Leto.
the Joker in that terrible Suicide Squad movie. Was that the one he played the Joker in? That one DC film where he was the Joker. Trash.
He did. It was the Suicide Squad.
But he comes out here as Dr. Michael Morbius and has zero enthusiasm. He looked like he just woke up the whole movie. Talked like he just woke up. He seemed like he had zero fun playing this role. They tried to bring in characters from the Marvel universe to try and bank off of people wanting to watch more Marvel movies, but
they got Keaton in there, don't they?
They got Michael Keaton, the Vulture. But he shows up. This is spoilers, so I'm sorry, TJ. He doesn't show up until the end credit scene, where he's just like, "Hey, I'm in this universe now. That's really weird. I think it has something to do with Spider-Man. We should hang out."
Oh my god, that's cringe.
And it's like the only Marvel character.
So cringe.
I think Michael Keaton did a great job as the Vulture in the Spider-Man movie, but they did not use him at all.
Leave him there then. Leave him there.
Yeah,
not have to go hang out with Vampire Man and Jared Leto.
True. It's Sony only owns like Spider-Man villains at this point. And they're
he still
just
owns Spider-Man. He's on lease.
Yes,
with Marvel.
Yeah, they get like a 50-50 split with Marvel, but with Spider-Man, a 50-50 split is still really good because everything he's in just explodes. And they're trying their best.
He's the most popular Marvel character at this point.
They're trying their absolute hardest to leech more off of that money by taking the Spider-Man villains and just mentioning Spider-Man like in brief in all the movies. Because there was a end credit scene that they mentioned Spider-Man in Venom as well. But the two Venom movies,
Eddie was in Spider-Man No Way Home, even if it was for 4 lines.
It's just really unfortunate because I feel like Sony is trying, but they cannot make a decent Spider-Man film anymore. Like after
the thing is, Into the Spider-Verse is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, that movie is fire! Yeah,
top to down, that movie, soundtrack, voice acting, animation, just phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
they have been fumbling the bag with live-action Spider-Man movies since The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, they should.
Venom, I have a good time with. Venom is a fun movie.
Yeah, that's
not a good movie.
That's the next thing I was gonna say. Is Venom at least was kind of fun bad because oh shoot, who plays Eddie Brock?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy is just super fun to watch, and his dynamic with himself that he has with Venom is just hilarious. And
he's the voice actor for Venom as well.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
He is the symbiote's voice.
Yes,
awesome.
He's literally talking to himself in the movie and in the booth, which is funny.
It's great.
But he just brings a lot of energy and he's a lot of fun to watch, which you kind of expect that with Venom. I don't think anyone knew what to expect from Morbius, and seeing Jared Leto, you thought you'd get some kind of crazy guy, and they set up a plot where he fights with his his inner desires to do bad things, and it could have been interesting, but they just ignore that after they set it up. And then the only real interesting character is just kind of crazy. There's a lot of plot holes that don't really make any sense. And the dialogue, like I said, the dialogue is the part that really ruins it. Even with the pacing issues and the action being a little wonky and all the plot holes from his powers, if the dialogue was delivered in a way that it was at least interesting, because that's what Venom is it's just Tom Hardy having an interesting conversation with himself.
And at the core of it, yeah.
Yes, if they could have done that with Jared Leto, it could have been a fun bad movie at least. Because the worst thing a movie can be is boring. And that's the problem with this movie.
I agree.
The pacing is so off, the delivery is so dry that it gets boring. When the fighting starts, I'd say it's not boring. It just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it's a bad movie, but the memes are funny. It's Morbin time is hilarious. And the best part is you can put any meme you want into the plot of the movie, and no one can fact check you because no one went to watch it.
think one of my favorite memes I've seen is like they had like a like an introduction trailer for someone in Smash Ultimate,
Uh-huh.
and like it just has Morbius pop up
I
and like Smash Ultimate, and he goes, "It's Morbin time," and like it cuts out.
Dr. Michael Morbius.
It's Morbin time.
do love those memes, and those Smash intro memes were all the rage when before Smash Ultimate was 4 years old. They still occasionally pop up, and they're great.
I'm still into some Smash Ultimate memes. It's funny,
Now
it's just funny.
The meme I have pulled up is what is your Morbius name? And it's like on the left side your birth month, and for each month it's more, and then plus your zodiac sign, and for each zodiac sign it's just BS.
Oh,
It's really stupid, but I love it.
oh Morbius.
All right, so
Morbius.
let's actually start. I'll let you do your first movie first.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do it because it's leading, or we've kind of been talking about it. One of my things that I legitimately have written down in my notes is anything with Jared Leto.
Anything?
Anything with Jared Leto.
That's so funny.
If you tell me Jared Leto is in a movie, my expectations automatically go to the basement.
Yeah, that movie's just gonna be bad.
I'm not even saying it's gonna be bad. I just know he's gonna do something weird. And I don't know if you've ever like read anything. This is all hearsay. You know, I don't know if any of this is true. But you can find articles online of him just doing weird things on set.
Yeah, I've heard
There's a
that.
story of him on Morbius, and he insisted on using crutches because Morbius is in crutches in the comics. You know, he's disabled because he's got like a blood disease or whatever.
Yes.
He insisted on using the crutches to go to the bathroom. And it would take him like a half hour to go take a piss. It was like clogging up recording time. And they're like, "Hey, Jared, dude, walk to the bathroom."
Yeah.
And he insisted. He was like, "No, I refuse. I refuse." So they made him. So he made people take him around in a wheelchair, go to the bathroom. That's weird.
That is really weird.
Dude.
That's
Just
especially
go to the
weird.
bathroom, man.
That's especially weird because if you've watched Morbius, he's only got the canes and stuff for like maybe the first 20 minutes of the movie.
It's so strange. And like when he played the Joker on Suicide Squad, apparently he would like send his fellow cast members like weird pictures.
Uh-huh.
And like he sent like Will Smith a picture of his family with like X's over their face.
Mm-hmm.
And Will Smith was like, "Hey, someone better get this dude to stop before I..."
Yeah, I'm about to do some crazy
Like,
stuff.
everything we know about Will Smith means he probably will.
True. Will Smith will walk up and slap a dude over a bald joke. So if you've threatened his
like-
family, he coming for you.
And it was like, why do that, Jared Leto?
Yeah.
Why do that? That's weird, dude.
Yeah, so
Anything with Jared Leto, it's automatically like, okay, I'm disinterested.
yeah, I get that. I've definitely heard similar stories, and it's like method acting is one thing, and it has shown to be effective for certain people. Oh gosh, I've drawn his blank. The last guy to play the Joker.
Joaquin Phoenix,
Before that.
Ledger.
Yeah, Heath Ledger. He was a well-known method actor who, there's lots of rumors of whether any of this is true or not, but there's rumors that he would stay up till like 3 a.m. No, he would get like 3 hours of sleep every night of like when they were filming Batman, so that he would basically be like kind of a little off his rocker while he was at filming. And
Yes,
then he would,
I've heard that.
and he had like a notebook where he would like write down I don't even know how to describe it, like thoughts he had about the Joker, what it meant to be the Joker, and would read them before going on set. Basically just like self-isolated himself to the point of being basically insane. Who knows if any of that's true. There's reports going both ways. A lot of people are like, no, that's nonsense. He was basically just living a normal life on set. But there's other people who've like done method acting and have had results. But I think I draw the line is if you're going to do method acting, you're not allowed to have other people involved in it. Like, you can't just go around being a jerk to people because you're method acting in quotation marks.
That's weird.
Yeah,
It's
like
weird.
that's weird, champ. Don't do that. Like they didn't sign up to be a method actor, so don't make them be a method actor.
Yeah, so anything with Jared Leto, that's what's kicking off my list.
And it's like even if that's his thing, it's not working very well because every movie he's been in has sucked in recent history. I don't know
His movies are average.
how does
like,
he
at best.
Yeah, how does he keep getting roles? Like he
I
keeps
have no idea. No idea.
I just don't get it. I'm looking at the movies he's been in recent. You've got Morbius, which what everyone universally was like meh or this is terrible. Depending on what you look for in a movie.
Yeah.
The Little Things, which I've not even heard of, Blade Runner 2049, which I've heard of, but I'm pretty sure it was bad. Suicide Squad, just a bunch of stuff
Also
I've not.
Gucci.
Yeah, which was the first one was terrible. I've heard the second one was really good because it didn't have Jared Leto in it anymore.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I feel like he's one of those actors that for some reason is hyped up, but is actually just like dog water.
Yeah, I just I don't care for it. So
It's-
Jared Leto.
He either plays a weirdo or Michael Morbius, who just didn't want to be alive during the whole movie, it seemed like. He shouldn't have been method acting walking around on crutches. He should have been method acting as a vampire who has superhuman strength, so he would have a little bit of excitement in his voice when he delivered his lines.
Gosh, I think I'd rather have. Could you imagine Jared Leto like turn off the lights?
True.
It's bright.
It's so bright. It's like, I don't know. I understood the flat delivery in the start of the movie because, he was really sick on the verge of dying at the start. But it's like once he became a superhuman, if you go from that thing to the other thing, you should have some excitement in your voice about the situation. But he did not. He did not. He sounded like he was reading out of the phone book. All right, so I'm trying to think what order I should do mine in. I'm going to start with a movie that most people think is bad, but I just absolutely couldn't stand. And that is The Greatest Showman. Have you seen The Greatest Showman? I'm going to hurt some feelings.
I have.
I
like that movie.
Greatest Showman. It's okay. So let me preface by saying I don't like musicals. So before I even walked into the movie, I was a little bit already like, this is not going to be a fun time for me. But I tried to keep an open mind. But here's the thing. I'm looking at it right now. The runtime of The Greatest Showman is 1 hour and 45 minutes. Average sized movie. Nothing happens in that movie.
That's fair. Not a lot goes on.
It felt like literally nothing had happened. Well, that's not fair. It felt like I watched 30 minutes of a movie, but I was sitting there for 1 hour and 45 minutes. Because it runs into the classic musical problem, is they have a story to tell that should be roughly the same amount of story that is told in any other movie, but they have to work in 30 minutes to an hour of musical numbers alongside of that. And some movies do that in a way that is good. So I'd say most Disney movies do a good job with it. I'd say, oh shoot, what's that one? Hamilton. I don't know why I was trying to blank. I think Hamilton does a good job. And here's the difference between The Greatest Showman and both of those. So Disney, their musical numbers are pretty short. They
about 2.5 minutes, maybe 3.
Absolute maximum. I'd say most of them are like a minute to a minute and a half. Honestly, like they get it.
Really?
I'm just thinking of the ones that I'd say that's not the average one, but I think a lot of their musical numbers like get in and get out, like a chorus and a verse, and then the song's basically over. And then The Greatest Showman has full length 3 to 4 minute songs, and they're all that long. I'm thinking of like Frozen, the song the snowman sings about wanting to be summer. That's like 45 seconds. Like, it gets its point across, and then the song's over. The Greatest Showman does not do that. These are full verse, chorus, a bridge, and then a closing chorus. You don't need that. I don't need a full song.
that's fair.
Now, I would also like to say, I did like the music in The Greatest Showman. Some of them are bops. They're pretty good songs. And the actors all did phenomenal. You got Zendaya, Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron. Like, huge cast that all did well.
Good cast.
They did a great job delivering their lines and performing the songs. So, like, it's not a poorly produced movie by any means. It just spends so much time singing. Like, shut up and tell me the story already. And
get some plot going.
Yeah,
get some plot going.
The other thing with The Greatest Showman compared to like Hamilton, which I think should probably be a good comparison. They're both a musical historical drama. But Hamilton, the songs progress the story.
They do.
The Greatest Showman, the song, you could remove the song entirely from the movie. It would not change the actual plot of the movie at all. You would still know just as much about the characters on screen and what happens to them and what they do if you completely remove the musical numbers. Specifically the one with Zac Efron and Zendaya that is really famous. What is it? Rewrite the Stars. It's a great song. I love it. They both did a great job on it. But while they're singing, they're just swinging around on ropes, singing, not doing anything, and the words of the song don't tell you any part of the story. They're just singing. That doesn't move the plot forward. So what happens is each time there's a musical number, you get like 5 seconds of dialogue that forwards the plot. You get like 5 minutes of them singing and the plot not moving at all. And it just ruins the pacing for me.
Those are valid points.
Yeah. And I think this is kind of like a hung jury. I looked up on Rotten Tomatoes. It had like a 50-something critic score, but an 86% audience score, which is like really high for a musical. That's
pretty high.
I understand I'm biased. I already don't like musicals because I think music in movies can enhance it, but I don't like when it's integral to it unless like unless the plot has something to do with music. Then you can work it in. Then it's fine. But I don't know. This one, of the musicals I've ever watched, and like I've watched a couple that like I really liked Hamilton. I thought it was really good, and I've occasionally seen a Disney movie that was a musical that I was like, okay, that was pretty good. I like the story. I feel like
watch Les Mis?
No, but I've heard it's phenomenal. It's on the list that I need.
Really good. It's really good.
Basically, my biggest gripe here is that I spent an hour and a half and I felt like I didn't learn anything about the characters. Like, and you could basically sum up the entire plot of this movie in about 45 seconds or something like that.
That's fair.
It's like P.T. Barnum broke. He started a circus. He cheated on his wife. He came back, saved the circus, got his wife back, and that's the end of the movie. That's all that happens.
And Zendaya and Zac Efron are there singing.
Yes.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah, they have a sub-romantic plot going on alongside of it, but that sub-romantic plot is like actually like 4 minutes of dialogue between them, and they're like, we're a thing now. Because that's all the time the movie had just to develop their relationship.
That's all it gave them. Yeah, that's true. The singing to plot ratio in that movie is a bit.
It's bad. Funny. It's really bad. I don't know what the proper singing to plot ratio is, but like I said, I gave examples on how to fix this. Either you shorten the musical numbers so that you have more time for plot, or make the musical numbers a part of the plot. Let them tell the story to you via the song. Don't just write a musical number that has nothing to do with anything. You could just pick any pop song off the radio and slap it into that spot. It would have moved the plot the same amount.
Yeah.
All right, that's probably my hottest take of the evening. And I got a little heated there. I'm sorry, everyone. If you like The Greatest Showman, I don't think you're wrong. I think if you like like musicals that have really good soundtracks. It's got a great soundtrack. I just like more plot, and there's not a lot of it in there. And the plot that was
I
in
like
there,
The Greatest Showman.
yes,
Like it. I think it is carried by the soundtrack, though.
oh yeah, it's super hard carried. If you put like an average soundtrack in that movie, the audience score would be like 30%, I think.
I don't think you're wrong.
All right. I think I've probably ranted enough. That one might get me flamed a little bit, but I'm sticking to my guns. I just didn't like it. I was bored the whole time, and like I said, the worst thing a movie can be is boring, and I was bored.
That's really fair. That's a great.
I defended
take,
myself,
I
so even if I get flamed, I feel like I can clap back because I don't think I'm telling any lies here. If you disagree, then let me know about it. But all right, what's your next one?
My next one might be. Looking at my list, yeah, this is probably my hottest take. Avatar.
Okay, so you're meaning
The blue people.
blue alien Avatar? Okay, I figured.
Blue alien. I mean, don't get me started on the live action train wreck that they tried to do with the last Airbender.
That doesn't exist. That does not exist.
I mean, that needs its own podcast.
There probably is one.
Thought about putting it on my list, but no, I'm going with Avatar: The Blue People.
Right.
What is the runtime of Avatar?
Let me just Google search that. Avatar.
Because it is really long.
It is super long. I do remember that.
Super long. 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Holy cow.
Have you seen Avatar?
Yes, I've seen Avatar.
Can you tell me what happens in that movie before 2 hours and 40 minutes?
Everyone has made that joke where I've seen this 100 times where everyone's like, Avatar came in, was the highest grossing movie of all time. Now no one can remember a single line of dialogue or a character name. And I can't argue because I can't either.
You can't. 2 hours, almost 3 hours.
I think
and the only thing I can pull from that movie that I remember are two things. Guy in a giant mech shows up and starts shooting the place at some point.
Yeah, that's the end of the movie, and that's actually pretty fire fight scene. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yes,
that the blue people plug their USB dreadlocks into a flying lizard.
The USB dreadlocks were pretty crazy.
Those are the two things from that movie. That's 2.5 hours long, and I can pull two scenes. That's ridiculous.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
Poured me to tears. The fact that was one of the highest grossing movie for so long. Like, how many times people had to buy another ticket just to remind themselves what happened?
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like that's a movie that no one's really rewatched in recent history. So the reason why it did so well is because for that time, the CGI and stuff was 10 years ahead of its time. Something like that.
Oh, the movie itself took like 10 years to make.
The movie
it was crafted so well.
Yeah.
But during that crafting process, someone couldn't put some more interesting things in it.
I agree. It's a stupidly pretty movie. Even by today's standards, like the scenery is beautiful. And I think there is a shell of a very interesting fantasy world in Avatar.
That's all it is.
The USB hair thing, although very weird, was pretty cool. I loved all the flora and fauna that appear in that movie. Everything just had really cool designs. But it's like James Cameron forgot to come up with a plot, because that's the worst part of the plot is it's just stupidly generic.
It's such a dry movie. Being so visually stunning.
Yeah.
It's so dry.
It's literally like the same. This is a bit of a stretch. It's a very similar plot to Final Fantasy VII, using the planet's resources, stuff like that, but you just make it aliens instead of the native people. There's a lot of eco-terrorism stuff going on, so it's just really, it's been done. It's not like it was, the plot was definitely not unique. Then it had a very predictable romance that was kind of shoehorned in.
It was shoehorned
I'd
in.
say it was less shoehorned in than dang it, what were we we were talking about something earlier where there was a romance plot that was really just unnecessary.
Greatest Showman?
Yeah, no. Oh yes, well yes, Zendaya and Zac Efron. If you're talking about screen time, I'd say the two characters in Avatar got more screen time together than Zendaya and Zac
fair.
Efron. They didn't get a musical number though, so I guess it's not as good.
No, it's not real love.
It's I don't understand. I don't remember anything that happened in Avatar. I don't say this is. You don't think that's not a hot take though, because like that's a take that people have been on for a while. I'm looking at the
Fair.
IMDb score of Avatar right now, and it's 7.8 out of 10.
And that movie was the highest grossing ever for so long.
Yes.
Like, what are we doing, people?
I mean, I guess it was just a lot of like there was so much like new technology being used in that movie that I think a lot of people were just looking at it to see what movies were going to look like in the future. I think that's what most of it was. It's like when every time there's a new console release, they release a Forza game, which is just a driving simulator that basically just puts the maximum settings on the new console and pushes it to its brink. It's not fun gameplay. It's not innovative. It's just really, really pretty. And people like to see how pretty the games can be.
That's fair.
So what I'm saying, and maybe this is a hot take.
The prettiness of Avatar does not carry it
Yes.
for me.
I'm just saying Avatar is the Forza of movies.
That oddly makes sense.
That may be a new take that no one's ever had before. I'll have to look later. Okay, that's a good take. I'll give you that one for sure. All right, what should I do next? I'm gonna save the one of them for last. So I'm gonna do a movie that's so bad that it's good. I don't watch a lot of movies like that. Okay, but there's one particular that I used to watch like at least yearly, sometimes more, because it was a bit of a tradition on my college track team to watch it once a year. And that is Division III football's finest. Have you ever seen Division III football's finest?
I'm not familiar.
I'm not shocked because it's extremely, extremely obscure. But it's I think it has one review on Rotten Tomatoes by a critic, so it doesn't even have a critic score. And the fan score is like 50 something. But it's an R-rated comedy film about a Division III college's football team that has just been absolutely atrocious for years on years. And the people at the college want to change up some stuff. And basically, they don't even care about the football team winning. They just want to get some publicity so they can make money off the football team, because that is like the main money maker at most colleges. So they hire a new coach who has got a very questionable background named Rick Weiss. And he's played by Andy Dick, who, if you know who Andy Dick is.
I'm looking at the poster, and the first thing I noticed, I was like, "That's Andy Dick."
That's Andy Dick. Who
I'm kind of invested.
Okay, yeah.
Just because Andy Dick's in it.
So, Andy Dick, if you don't know who Andy Dick is, he basically always plays crazy people, and
Yes.
he does not break that mold in this movie. He is absolutely off his rocker the entire time. Like, the coach is insane. And there's one other, I think, maybe semi-famous actor, Brian Callen, plays someone in this movie. I can't remember who, honestly. But basically, that's the only even semi-famous people in this movie. And his entire objective for this movie is to finish the season at 500. It's not win a championship. It's not go to the championship. It's not win the conference. It's finish even, the same number of wins and same number of losses, which is just hilarious that they would do that as the main premise of a like sports movie, because it's always, we got to go to state. And they're like, I want to win half the number of games that we play.
That's amazing.
And there's so many quotable moments. The plot is so stupid it's impossible to follow. It's basically just Andy Dick abusing his players.
Oh God.
There's a scene where he rides this bicycle throughout the whole movie. It's my favorite running joke of the movie. Is that he rides this bicycle, and at practice he picks up the yard marker and like starts biking towards his players, like it's a joust.
Oh gosh.
I can't say the exact joke he says because it's very offensive. The whole movie is super offensive, so if that's not your type of humor, skip it. And I completely understand. Like the movie's not good. A lot of people probably should have been canceled for this movie, but somehow they got away with it. There's also there's so many quotable lines too. So there's one of the assistant coach is also the nutritionist for the team, and there's a joke that happens multiple times where Coach Weiss was an orphan that got trapped in the walls of his orphanage, and to survive he had to drink his own piss, and and the nutritionist is like, he wants me to work the boys drinking their own piss into the diet plan. I've got mixed feelings about it though. And then the AD is like, you ain't gonna have our boys drinking their own piss. And he's like, I said I had mixed feelings about it.
I had mixed feelings.
And then his
oh gosh.
The coach has a go-to line that is "get some," and he always forgets what the abbreviation stands for. So the first time he's like writing it on the whiteboard, he's like, "We're gonna get some. Go every time, so others may every time."
And we are going to get some.
Get some.
Go every time, so others. So go every time, so others may. Every time.
Get some.
And then he tries to ride it on
I'm kind of in on this movie. I think.
If you're okay with the type of humor that is basically designed to offend as many people as possible, I think it does it really well. You have to just excuse the plot. There's some really funny running jokes though. There's just some like so many off the wall jokes. And so like the bike that he drives, as the movie progresses, the bike gets more and more messed up.
God, I love that physical comedy.
So like
aspect,
it starts out,
you know?
yeah, it starts out he's just riding the bike and it's just fine. But by the end of the movie, the chain is like completely off of it. He's just pedaling it and it doesn't even go anywhere. And he just like grabs it and throws it against a tree. It's just so funny. There's so many just great quotable moments. And that's why we would always watch it as a team, because it's just so funny. And if you have like 10 people in a room watching it that all like know all the quotes, and then every time they start to do it, they're like, oh, this is my favorite joke. This is my favorite joke. It's really funny to watch in a group because of that. If everyone's seen the movie. And we would quote it at practice all the time, and our coach would be like, what are you talking about?
Division 3, baby. Division 3.
One of my favorite lines is he's like, this year we're gonna focus on 2 words: champion and ship. We're gonna every other team out there. It's great.
I think I'm gonna watch this movie.
I don't know what it's streaming on. This says it's streaming on Tubi.
I just Googled it. Yeah, I just Googled it. It doesn't have easy access.
No,
I will
find
a way.
It used to be on Netflix, and I probably could guess why they took it down, because it's stupidly offensive. There's a there's a scene. So if you've never played sports organized in America, it's very common for your team to say a little prayer before you go out into battle. And then so Coach Weiss is like, now I'm gonna ask our assistant coach to say a nice non-denominational prayer before we go out and play this game. And then the assistant coach is like, well, I ain't really one for speeching on the Lord, but Jesus loved football. And he's
Oh, he did. It's,
Yeah.
it's a known fact.
I could go on to, like, I know the whole thing. He's like, and he used to play games with the 12 disciples against the Roman soldiers. I bet they did. And then he goes,
Oh,
it
God.
somehow turns into a rant about evolution not being a thing.
Oh my God.
The movie has no coherency whatsoever. But it's like, it's the stupid funny, but it does it extremely well, I think. And I know a lot of people don't like stupid funny, but I'm a big fan of stupid funny when it's done well. And I think this movie does it well. If you can find
There's a
it,
place for it.
yeah. If
There's
you,
a place for it.
it used to be on Netflix, and that's where we would always watch it. But again, I can assume why they took it down.
Yeah, it's probably for the best.
That's my bad movie that I think is good. Objectively, it's a terrible movie, horrible, but it's got some really funny moments. All right, back to you.
Oh, gosh, I went really negative with my list. I don't think I put a bad movie that is good to me. I could probably think of one, but I locked into my list, so I'm just gonna go with it. Next up, Polar Express.
Did you say Polar
Polar
Express?
Express.
The Polar Express.
The Polar Express. It's weird animation style that makes it unsettling. This might be my least favorite movie of all time.
all their eyes look dead in that movie.
They're dead. It's a weird movie. He just wrote a letter to Santa, and then this train shows up. It's weird.
I like the scene where they drift the train on the ice, and that's like the only part of the movie I remember other than their extremely dead eyes.
There's a lit hot chocolate song.
True.
Like, that's it. The movie is unsettling. The animation is horrible. It's really
I'm
bad.
trying to find a picture of one of their, like, just a picture that shows the eyes, because there's
Have you seen
They're
the
blank.
new Chip and Dale movie?
no, I haven't. I've seen that there's a
There's
trailer for
actually
it.
Polar Express reference in the movie. I
Alright.
highly suggest you watch that movie. It's really meta, but it's funny.
I like a nice meta movie. Yeah, I'm just
I
looking
love
at.
meta movies.
I feel like this movie is very. This is a great pun. Very polarizing.
God, I hate that movie.
I feel like
Probably my least favorite movie ever.
you either love this
Cannot
movie
stand the
or
Polar
hate it.
Express.
I don't think anyone is like, it's a decent movie.
I can't watch it. I really, and there's not a lot of movies that I'm like, oh, turn it off. This is one of them. The Polar Express. Cannot stand it.
It's true.
Can't.
I don't. It's been so long. Have I? I can't remember if I've even like sat down and watched this whole movie, because I'm in it. I think I was in a similar boat. I would just like turn it off. Like, I'm not having a good time.
It's just bad. It's a bad movie.
I'm looking on Rotten Tomatoes because
The-
I want to know what the Polar Express score is on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's see.
This better not be.
It's got it's
Very
bad.
high.
Okay, it's got a 56% critic score and a 63% audience score. I thought that was a movie
Okay,
that a lot of
okay.
people really liked, especially like around Christmas time. But it's
You know, I have encountered some people that are like super into it. I just can't get down with it. It's
I agree.
that's like your gold standard for Christmas movies. I question you.
I feel like that's more like the bar. You need to be better than Polar Express. What's your favorite Christmas
They're
movie? Brief aside, what's your favorite Christmas?
That's a tough question.
Now, most of those are bad, so I think that's a fair topic to bring up briefly.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Jim Carrey.
Yes, I agree. So I'd either say that or Will Ferrell's Elf.
So Will Ferrell's Elf is great, but I'm a sucker for like how every movie with Jared Leto automatically goes to the basement.
Yes.
Any movie with Jim Carrey automatically goes to the roof.
He
Like,
kills
I'm like,
it.
I'm in.
He kills it in that
Okay,
movie
I'm
so
in.
hard too. Like, he goes in. He is 80%
I
of that
love Jim
movie.
Carrey. Jim Carrey is probably my favorite actor of all time. So like, put Jim Carrey in a movie, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go watch it because Jim Carrey.
All right. Now I'm going to give what's probably my hottest take. Have you seen The Arrival? It's
Yes,
the 2016 film about aliens.
yes. Is that with
I'm pulling it up. I don't remember who's in it.
Amy Adams.
Yes, it's got her and the guy who plays Hawkeye.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah,
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner. Before he was Jeremy
Exactly
Renner,
what you're talking
he
about.
really popped off after this movie came out. This is my movie that everyone thinks is good and I don't like, and that's a hot take.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's another boring movie.
It's boring. That's what I was gonna say. So, I don't want to spoil The Arrival too much because it is genuinely a pretty well put together movie. But it's one of those movies that's built around a major plot twist, and I know that alone is a spoiler. So I'll put a spoiler warning before I say that, and I'm going to put another bigger one right now because I'm going to spoil a lot of this movie. Because I'm just not a big fan. So I like movies that have a big twist. One of my favorite movies of all time is The Prestige. I love The Prestige. And it's a movie that's basically based around one giant plot twist. And I've seen other movies like that are basically a plot twist that the plot and movie are structured around. I don't dislike that, okay? I don't particularly like when I feel like a movie was designed to force you to rewatch it. I don't have that kind of a time. I'm a working adult. I can't be sitting around watching movies all day. I got video games to play on my free time. I got YouTube videos to watch. I got music to listen to. Like, there's a lot of other forms of entertainment. I can't be watching one movie 3 times so that I can fully understand the plot.
That is a solid take.
And if you're going to build a movie around a plot twist, I feel like that plot twist needs to be it needs to be good, first of all. And I just don't necessarily I'm not sure that I think The Arrival's plot twist was good because it doesn't make sense.
Oh.
So here comes the spoiler. This is your final warning, anyone that hasn't seen the movie. So basically The Arrival is about this woman who is like a world-renowned linguist, and aliens have visited planet Earth, and they've got these giant like floating structures that are like the size of a like monument. It's shaped a lot like the Lincoln Memorial. They're just really tall, straight up and down. It's got this weird like design on the outside, and they're just floating up there. And basically, there's one in like every major country, and they're all trying to figure out what to do. Everyone's arguing, and surprisingly, the Americans take the attack. Because everyone else is like, let's just nuke them, get them out of here. I expected America to be on that line, but they took a different line on this course, and it was like, let's try to talk to them first and see what they want. Crazy. So this world-renowned linguist gets called in after basically winning the competition to be the person to do it. And she's trying to communicate with the aliens.
Okay.
So the entire movie is just her writing words on a whiteboard and showing it to the aliens. And the aliens are like behind this like giant glass wall kind of. And they're all in like suits and stuff because the aliens give off a slight amount of like radiation. And they're just like, they could have alien diseases or something. So she just like writes words on the whiteboard.
Watch out for those alien diseases.
Yes, and she like writes bread on a whiteboard and like takes a piece of loaf of bread and is like bread, and then the aliens eventually start writing back in their language, and that goes on basically the whole movie. The bread example is made up. I don't think she actually writes bread, but that's basically the plot of how this works. And at the end of the movie, using some, she builds an algorithm because she starts to eventually figure out how their language works. I don't remember exactly how it works, but she kind of states it. But she's been having like these flashbacks this whole movie, and she doesn't understand why she's having them. But they're like, the flashbacks help her solve different parts of this puzzle. And then at the end, she finally puts it all together and she goes to have a little chat with the aliens. And this is when the movie gets really stupid for me. The aliens start... Up to this point, it's a little boring, but everyone in the movie, I think, does a fantastic job of delivering their lines and stuff. It's obviously not very action-packed, but like I like the sci-fi element, the mystery element, and all the actors do a phenomenal job. So I was invested up to this point, right? It wasn't the most exciting thing ever, but I was still into it. And then the plot twist comes. She goes to talk to the aliens. She like takes off her suit and she goes behind the glass and is talking to these two aliens. And the aliens are like, okay, so our planet is kind of dying or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but we wanted to give your civilization a chance to survive. So we shared our language with you. And when you understand our language, it causes you to no longer see time flowing as a straight line. It now is a circle. So she can see the future because she understood a language. That's so freaking stupid.
Ridiculous.
And if they had made the plot twist make any sense at all, even give me like the slightest little bit of like a suspension of disbelief, if I could think for even a second that was possible, it would have been a really good movie, I think. And a lot of people think it was a really good movie. Because
That's
like
ridiculous.
she at that point you figure out all of her flashbacks are actually her seeing the future. And she sees the future that gives her the exact answer she needs in every situation. They never explain that. They're just like, time is a circle now, you just get to know everything you'll ever need to know. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. And it's like they build up this whole plot twist the whole movie because you know there's something coming, right? Because it's like a mystery. They're trying to solve a mystery. They're Scooby-Dooing it out here. And the mystery is so stupid. The movie is so stupid, like the twist, is so stupid that it retroactively ruins the entire hour before it and the 30 minutes following it. I completely stopped caring at that point. And it's like...
I mean, I agree with that take. I mean, it's a solid... It's a boring movie. I agree. You know, it's a boring movie.
Yeah.
Boring movies aren't fun.
No.
You don't want to pay to watch a boring movie.
I struggle to say that this is like a objectively bad movie because I don't necessarily want to say that it was boring. Obviously, there's no action going on because she's writing stuff down on a whiteboard. That can only be so interesting. But there's like the suspense of the whole situation because in the background there's a lot of political stuff happening because everyone's like, what do we do with the aliens? Do we kill the aliens? Do we kill other countries' aliens? We don't want them to have the aliens if the aliens are a good thing. So it's like...
I don't want them to have the aliens.
There's enough interesting going on and the feeling of suspense and mystery keeps you invested up until the point that they show you the plot twist and you're like, that is the stupidest, nonsensical plot twist I've ever heard. And it feels so outside of the bounds of the universe that was set up. It just doesn't make sense. But, I mean, I don't know that I would necessarily say, like, the movie I always compare it to is Prestige because it's very similar where it's like there's not a lot of action going on, but there's mysteries that are trying to be solved. And then it gives you the solution to those mysteries, and then everything before it now makes sense because of that. And I feel like, for some reason, I like the Prestige twist more, even though I'd say it's probably equally nonsensical, so maybe I'm being biased. I don't really know.
I don't know if I've seen the Prestige.
Okay, spoilers for the Prestige coming in the next couple seconds. So basically, the Prestige is about... two magicians that are caught in this like competition to determine who's the best. It's like Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale, and they do a phenomenal job the whole movie. But they're each trying to figure out what the other's trick is. So like they're basically one-upping each other. So one of them will come up with a new trick, the other one will figure out how to do it and will show the public. And they're like, that guy sucks. And then the other guy will come up with a better trick. And finally, one of them comes up with a trick that just the other guy cannot figure out how the heck he's doing it. And it turns out he went to Nikola Tesla, and Nikola Tesla had built a cloning machine. So the trick involves him cloning himself and then killing the clone.
Oh.
Yes. So I understand somehow.
That's lit.
Yes, it is. It's crazy. It's quite the twist. I still recommend watching the movie, even if I just spoiled that for you. It's such a good movie. But I don't know. I just feel like I don't know how to describe it. Why I think one of the twists is better, because I feel like both of them are equally nonsensical, maybe. But I guess because I could see there is a reality where eventually a human could build a cloning machine, right? We've been able to clone other animals, not in the same way that
right?
It wasn't a cloning machine like Nikola Tesla had in the movie, but it's like there is a chance in a certain universe that could happen.
Yeah.
The language you speak does not affect your perception of time at all. There's a 0% chance that those two are ever connected.
You a big M. Night guy?
M. Night Shyamalan? Not really, no.
A lot of twists in those movies.
I don't mind a twist, and I think a twist can be done really well, but I think a lot of movies use that as a crutch.
I think M. Night does. I think he uses his as a crutch.
I don't know. It's hard to explain, because in this movie, I don't think the twist is even necessarily that important to the story, because it doesn't really change anything afterwards. And I feel like that's another reason why I don't like it, is her understanding it didn't change anything. Because either way, she was still seeing the future and reacting off of what she was seeing. She just didn't understand what she was seeing. So each time it happened, she just had this really confused look on her face. And the movie never explained why she looked so confused. And it's like it's framed as a flashback, or her having some recollection of something that has happened. So that's what you think is happening. And the twist is she's actually seeing the future, but that doesn't change anything other than she now knows that she's doing it. And I think she writes a book after the actual main plot of the movie and tries to explain it to other people, which is the only other thing that changes. I don't know. I just didn't think it was very effective.
They're just as confused as the audience. They're
True.
Like, hey.
And also, so to compare it back to The Prestige, there's a lot more action going on. A lot of drama compared to this, where it's really just just a person writing stuff on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff happening in the background that you're not really, no one important to the plot really cares about. Because she doesn't care if China nukes the alien ships. She just wants to talk to them.
I just want to see what they have to say.
I still think it's a good movie worth watching. It's just, I don't know. I personally just felt like the twist landed flat. It didn't make sense. And there was when you build up to a twist like that, it needs to change more about the movie prior and after, if that makes sense.
I agree.
I'm trying to think of a movie that has a really big plot that once it's revealed, it changes the entire framework of the movie before and after. But I don't.
Sixth Sense.
Yeah. I was gonna give a few examples, but I didn't want to spoil too much. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil every single movie ever. I can think of a couple, and maybe one day we'll talk about some. But this was mostly
That's a good movie. Go check that movie out if you haven't watched it.
All right. I think that's all my movies. Do you have any other movie you want to discuss?
I have one more.
All right,
I'm just gonna bring it up.
All right, go for it.
Oh gosh, Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
It's the easiest movie to crap on in history, because of course it's the easiest movie to crap on in history. Anakin, I have the high ground. It's ridiculous.
There's so many, specifically in the prequels. There's so many bad quotes that are super quotable.
They dropped the ball. You could have made such such a good story of the formation of the galactic badass that is Darth Vader. And then, oh my god, you had like Obi-Wan like force throw lava on him
Yeah.
in the final 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like, that's it? Wait, really? That's it? That we're done? And then, yep, we're done. And then, yeah, and oh god, these movies make me so sad. Just the entire prequels,
Yeah, you could just crap on
super cringe.
the entirety of the prequels. You could just crap on, but the internet loves them so much, though.
The memes are electric from the prequels.
My favorite is the
casting. I think the casting was really good.
Oh yeah,
The writing in those movies is just atrocious.
I'm gonna go ahead.
You just can't do that.
I'm gonna go ahead and say the thing that no one wants to say. I don't think any of the Star Wars movies are really all that good.
Hurts my soul a little bit.
They're
But, like, you're allowed to have that opinion.
There's a lot of nostalgia to them. I just don't think that they hold up. And it's like, it's more of something I watch at this point to poke fun at. I love the Space Odyssey of the whole thing. I'm a huge space nerd. I love sci-fi. So like, there's definitely an appeal there. But if you're just looking objectively at the plot and you strip the settings away from it and the actors away from it, because there's some amazing actors that do a phenomenal job in the Star Wars series, the plots are honestly, they're super generic. They don't do anything innovative. Even the
pretty thin. I agree, they're pretty thin.
Even the production quality is pretty poor in a lot of spots. Specifically, I think it was one of the first couple of movies. Was actually edited by George Lucas's wife, because it was going so poorly that they were gonna have to scrap the entire movie. So she was someone. She had no editing like background or anything, but she threw it together so they would have a movie, and that's why there's like the movie player,
the wipe
cuts and stuff, because she didn't know what she was doing, but it became an aesthetic. So it's like,
I mean, they just leaned into it and it worked.
Yeah, it's like a movie that's based off of having a unique aesthetic, a unique vibe to it, plus nostalgia. But if you're looking objectively from an artistic standpoint, is the movie good? From a literary standpoint, is the plot good? I think the answer is probably no. And if I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but I think if they made Star Wars books with those plots, they would not go well. Now,
I agree.
There are Star Wars.
I will say this about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like sci-fi world building, there's not a lot better, I don't think.
True. That's another thing. There are so few like Space Odyssey sci-fi style movies that they don't have a whole lot of competition. It's Star Wars and Star Trek. That's all you got.
Gosh, Star Trek. I can't stand Star Trek.
Yeah, I know. But so it's like all they had to do is be better than Star Trek in like a majority of people's minds, and they cornered the market. And that's what they did. I hope eventually
they have indeed cornered it.
True. I hope eventually they get enough competition that they have to try to be better. And there are good Star Wars storylines. Like, I've heard the comics are really good.
Star Wars, really good ones, yeah.
Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I heard has a really good plot to it.
We're watching that right now.
Yeah. So there's material in the Star Wars universe that has good plot, and I think if they make the movies more modern in their editing style, there could be good artistic value there. But it's just, they just don't seem to care because they just print money every time they make movies.
I mean, my big opinion, and this goes for actually like Marvel and DC and Star Wars, I think they should all transition into TV series because you can spend more time with the characters and really dig in.
That's true. the I like the TV series, and I've watched a good chunk of the Marvel ones, and they're all very good. The only thing is, there's definitely a noticeable dip in production quality. It's like they give you the same amount of budget to make 7 1-hour episodes as they do like a full feature length film.
Yeah, they do tend to load a lot of the action into a couple episodes,
Correct. Which
but I
which
just like it because you get to spend more time with the characters.
that's fine as long as the story is done very well and they've got a plot
Yeah.
that is interesting. I can handle the lower budget as long as as long as the pacing is still good and the plot is still good, then I can deal with it.
Right.
Yeah, I understand why a lot of people why people love Star Wars. I get it. Nostalgia is a thing. And if it reminds you of a simpler, happier time, then by all means, I'm not telling you not to watch it. And if any of these movies that I said were bad, if you like it and you have a fun time watching it, by all means, keep watching it. I'm not going to tell you to stop.
Except Jared Leto movies.
Except Jared Leto movies, because you're funding his bad behavior. Don't fund his bad behavior. But it's just like, for me, I didn't really watch them as a kid, so I don't have the nostalgia glasses. I just watched them and I'm like, this is boring. And I'm not going to force myself to sit through a boring movie unless I'm at the movie theater, because it's like I've already paid.
I'm sitting through it at this point.
I'm here for the long haul. I'm at least going to make fun of it while I sit here. Try to have some fun out of it.
Fair.
All right. I think that is our movie opinions. Give us yours down in the comments. Tell us why we're wrong. Just don't tell us that Jared Leto's a good actor, because that's just objectively incorrect.
Yeah, I mean, you can try to say your favorite movie is a Jared Leto movie. I'm just going to call you a liar.
Put your favorite Jared Leto quote down in the comments.
Oh my god.
All right.
It's Morbin time count.
It's Morbin time. All right. All right. I will see all of you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.